Thank you, David. So I'd like to set a scene. Think for yourself, just in your own mind. Picture yourself a nice African savanna. In front of you, about 100 yards away, is a rather large purple elephant. The purple elephant has a hat. It does a wonderful dance and says hello to the giraffes. What happened in your brain? Did you see the purple elephant talking to giraffes in the African safari? How many people saw that in their head? What if you didn't? Who didn't see anything?
I lost you at hat.
So some people, and it's apparently a very small group, have something that we call aphantasia, where you have no mind's eye. So all the descriptions that we can provide and you can hear, there's no picture. And nobody even knew this was a thing until about 10 years ago, when a couple people were talking, man was talking to his scientist friend, and he's like, what do you mean, like, pictures? Like, yeah, like, literally in my head. I'm like, so anybody with aphantasia up to that point, more or less, or even the people now, more or less figured that all you guys were just talking figuratively about these images in your head, and nobody knew that it was a thing. But for a select few of us, there's no imagery. We have the ability to create the concepts, and we can think of all kinds of things. We have wonderful imagination. I'm told about 70% of Pixar's animators have aphantasia. They don't have any internal visualization. We can still dream in pictures and colors, but when you try to call up those imagery during the day and you want to picture that purple elephant, you know what you're talking about? No pictures. So the way you see the world is different. There's other forms of aphantasia too. So like there's apparently rare forms where some people just have no audio imagery. So when you're talking to yourself and you're thinking in your head, do you think in words? Do you hear your own voice? Most people probably do. Some people don't. And there's other kinds of ways that happens too. But it doesn't affect anybody's creativity. Like, you still have that crazy level of creativity, less Pixar, but we're just a different view of the world. And until you actually call it out, we'd never know anything was different. The only time I've ever noticed a difference, and anyone might tell, was after we came out of COVID. I was talking to people at work online for 3 years straight, and some of them never came on camera. They just had a picture. And one of them introduced themselves to me in the office. I'm like, hey, how's it going, Chad? I'm like, who are you? I had no idea. I like looked at his name, thought, oh, and it's just like clicked, and I didn't even know that could be a thing, but apparently it's just a different way to see the world. So what if your worldview is shaped by something that you have no physical control over? Like, the way you look at the world is different. Aphantasia isn't the only way that you can see the world differently too. Think of someone that has no vision at all. How do they perceive the world? Can't hear. In a wheelchair. You ever try navigating a website or playing video games with one arm? So the way that we perceive the world, the way we interact with the world is completely different. And recognizing that in people matters. There was always the idea that we want to have a variety, and we want to have that inclusiveness in our environments, in our offices, in our boardrooms. So we have equality, we're inclusive, we get everyone together. And there's a story that always kind of sticks in my head about, when you set up your boardroom and you've got 12 people in a room, and if all 12 of those people are the same gender, have the same background, went to the same school, you don't have very much diversity in that room. Good ideas only come when you combine different points of view. And having those different points of view, whether it's people that can visualize or can't, whether they're disabled or not, men, women, different races, different countries. Putting them together makes something truly unique and gives you something new. If you think about going back, say, an hour ago, before we came here, how many people made dinner? Who had dinner tonight? How many ingredients did you have in your dinner? Was it more than one? You can't have good food without multiple ingredients. If you only have flour, it's going to be gross. If you only have water, you'll survive for a while, but it'll be really boring, and you'll lack all of the vitamins and nutrients that you need to actually get calories. All of the best food combines multiple ingredients. Same way with people and ideas. The more ingredients you have, the more things that you can come up with. Like if I gave you a pile of vegetables and you got your onions and your garlic, I toss in some rice, we got like a variety of meats. You can make something interesting and give it to somebody else. They'll make something totally different with the same set of ingredients. So being able to get everyone together and actually appreciate that diversity and go out and seek it out, you'll come up with the best ideas you will ever have. So just to, tell you where I come from on this, like I found out I had aphantasia like a year or two ago, and it was like, whoa, that's a crazy thing. But then I think my wife has been in a wheelchair for 7 or 8 years. She's the one that actually only has one arm, so playing video games is terrible for her, but she writes poetry, and it's still awesome. I've known people that are blind, and the way they see the world is different. I've trained with people in karate, completely blind. Still something new, and you get different perspectives from all of them. So whether they're young or old, or men, women, different backgrounds, pull everybody together. You'll get the best ideas for anything you do. That's all I can hope for. So I'm gonna hand it back to you, David, and wow.
Yeah.